Alright, well hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I wanted to go over the Wandrd Prvke V4 line here that just showed up at my doorstep. And as somebody who has been a user of the Prvke line for the past 6 years, give you some of my initial thoughts about all of the changes and the updates they've made to this bag, because they've refined or changed or at least touched on pretty much everything with this bag. And some of the updates I think are going to be worth it, and some of the updates might have some people reaching for the V3. So if you are a V3 owner looking to upgrade to the V4, I'll let you know if some of the changes might be worth it, or hopefully let you know if some of the changes might be worth it for you. Or if you are new to the Prvke line and you are looking at the V4 and wondering whether you might be able to save a few dollars and get the V3 when it's on clearance, whether you might be able to do that, because I think there are some benefits to the V3 that the V4 does not have. So we'll just hop into it. The outside here, this tarpaulin material hasn't really changed. I like that because this stuff is pretty much indestructible. I've had the V2 down here since 2019, and I have beat this thing up all over the world, and it barely has any like scuffs or anything on it. In fact, I don't even know if you'll be able to really see any of the damage. There's a little bit of scrapes. And in fact, the only real wear and tear on this bag is these little AquaGuard zippers you can see right here all across the outside of this zipper has come undone, which I'll kind of touch on here in another second. So all of the zippers on this bag have been changed. They are not this water guard zipper right here that you'll see on the V3. The V3 has all of its zippers with this, except for this water bottle pocket, AquaGuard style zipper, and the ones on the V4 over here are, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but they are more like a cloth style zipper. And I looked on Wandrd's website and I didn't see any information about the zipper change. I didn't see anything in their Kickstarter about the zipper change. The weather sealing on the bag or the weather resistance of the bag hasn't really changed. And I looked on the on the YKK website for zippers to try to kind of like match them up to see if they were any of the AquaGuard style, and I did not see them. I couldn't really match them up, so maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think the zippers on this bag are going to be quite as water resistant as the V3 over here with these AquaGuard zippers. So just be aware of that. That includes these two top pockets up here, or two top zippers, the zipper on the back panel here, as well as the zipper for your quick access and your little key garage here. So speaking of those pockets, this key garage hasn't really changed that much. It's still a little key garage. It's still got the little key clip in there, so that hasn't changed. Got some alcohol pads in there. Actually, pro tip about alcohol pads, if you are with somebody who gets motion sick, or if you are somebody who gets motion sick, keep a couple alcohol pads on you, because when you kind of get that nauseous feeling, you can crack one of these open and just kind of smell it in your hand, and it actually just makes all of that nausea go away instantly. So my wife sometimes gets motion sick, as do I, so I keep a couple of those in all of my bags there. So just a side tip there. The hooks here, or this clip for the side, whatever these things are, I guess tripod straps, I don't really know what this one is. I've strapped a jacket to it sometimes. You still get two of these, however they've changed the little plastic clip that you'll see on this one to these little G hooks here. I kind of like this actually. I think the more compact G hook is gonna be easier to cinch stuff down in between here, just because you're not trying to fight that big kind of chunky buckle there. They have also changed the way that these are, the little tails of these adjusters are attached. This is like sewn in, and then it's got one of these little elastic bands versus the like Velcro strap that you have here, where you just kind of like had to unvelcro it and then roll it up and then Velcro it again. And I actually really hate those. I don't think they functioned anywhere near as smooth as they thought maybe. So they've also made an adjustment to this outside pocket here. It's supposed to be a little bit bigger. It does look like it is a little bit bigger at the bottom down here. You might be able to see it a little bit better from this top-down angle. So it does look like they've maybe made this pocket just a hair bigger over, maybe, yeah, maybe it's a little bit bigger all the way around. In practice, I don't know that that really matters that much, because as you can kind of see in here, the cube itself hasn't changed too much. And actually keep in mind while you're watching this video that the cube that's in my V3 is actually a V2 cube, because I like the smaller dividers. I'll kind of touch on that in a second there. But the flap here is just a little bit bigger. You can actually see it actually is a little bit bigger when you open this up. And I think that's a pretty welcome addition. You still get the same 3 battery pockets on the inside of the flap, so you don't really lose anything there. Now, moving on to the other side, the water bottle pocket has also been changed. They've made it a little bit taller. I think that's a pretty welcome addition as well. I think that it works. I think they both work just fine, honestly, but it's nice to have a taller pocket. I've not found this one to be bad by any means, so welcomed, but I don't really care about it too much. The roll top here has been changed. A few things on this thing have been changed actually. First of all, I noticed that it feels like it's a little bit smoother. It looks like it's maybe a little bit tighter of a weave than the V3 here. And I don't know that you'll be able to see that, but I'll kind of hold these up. It looks like, I don't know, it feels a little nicer. It's a little less rough, but it looks like it's probably the same material. Maybe that helps with the weather resistance a little bit. Now they've also shortened this down so at its top effective height, you get about, you know, that much extra space in this roll top. Whereas the V3, and this is one of the negatives that I think I'm gonna have with this bag, is, yeah, that is the top there. So you can kind of see, you lose a little bit of space with this V4. So if you're somebody like me who travels a lot and sometimes you really stuff the top of this bag full coming back, or you've got to change stuff around because bags are too heavy or whatever, I have stuffed this all the way full a few times. It's not often, but it's also not never. So yeah, I think that was a little bit of a downgrade here. I like the extra room. I like having the extra room. But they did that to make the handles grabbable when you've got this thing stuffed to the brim. So I definitely understand it, but if you are somebody that uses a lot more space, or you are overpacking often, that might be a little bit of a negative. So those are the first 2 kind of updates on the roll top. The third one is, I think, going to be probably the second most functional update to this bag, and that is the ability to open the roll top without unrolling it. My wife actually really liked this because I often ask her to get into my bag when I've got stuff in this roll top, and she's either got to like roll it up to the sky to get into it, or I've got to like kneel down and let her unroll it, and it's kind of a tedious process. So this is really nice, and I think it'll be really nice for people who are on planes that don't want to unroll that and have to like, you know, roll it up in their lap. So that I'm actually looking forward to. Again, you lose the waterproof zipper that you got on this sunglasses case for both of these top zippers, so I don't know how that's going to affect the weather resistance again, but keep that in mind. You do still have the sunglasses pocket that you have on this V3 here. However, you lose the soft liner of the V3, and it's just this like polyester or whatever, this PVC, this whatever this material, nylon, I don't know what it is, but you lose that softness in here, and I don't know why they did that. I like having that softness in there. I tend to just put my phone and like wallet and soft things in there to protect it from all the stuff bouncing around in the roll top. So I don't know why they did away with that. Weight savings, cost, I really don't know why. That I kind of see as a negative. And they also, I'll show you in a second, but they also did away with it on the laptop sleeve compartment as well. So those are the 2 or 3 updates to the top of the roll top here. It looks like maybe the magnets are a little bit stronger. That's neat, but whatever. So moving on to pretty much the biggest update that they've made here with this bag is going to be these straps. And I think this is going to be one of the best updates, but I actually also think it's going to be one of the worst updates that they've made, and I will show you why, but we'll go over these real quick. So they've changed the overall shape just a little bit. I guess the shape is still the same, but they're a little bit thinner. They're a little bit more padded, and they're more this like regular backpack style, like the Osprey that I showed you earlier. I think this is going to be a pretty welcome addition. I thought that the V3 was super comfortable just in and of itself. I think it's one of the most comfortable bags because it is so wide, but I do live in hot climates, and it can be pretty brutal. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not these maybe breathe a little bit better. And along with changing the padding in these and kind of like the overall kind of style, you lose your molly here on the top of this. I don't really care, I never really use that. But the biggest update that they've made is they've changed the mounting point of the top of the straps here to mount to the bag itself and not to the lid of the clamshell opening. And I think this is going to be kind of hit or miss for some people. I know a lot of people were kind of contentious about having all of the weight of the bag on that zipper, and maybe that's why the V2 that I've got down here has the zipper that's worn so much. I mean, that thing been through it, but maybe that's why. But in 6 years, that has not failed me, so I don't think that's that big of a deal. The big benefit to this is going to be from having the top of the bag a little closer to the top of your body. So if you've got weight in the front, it's going to be a little bit, like I said, closer to your body. It's going to be a little bit more evenly spaced out. So I think that's going to be a major benefit to the comfort of this bag. That is something that I do notice when I have this loaded up, that it does sit, you can kind of see it right there, it does sit significantly farther off my back, and this isn't even loaded up. That's got a camera in it, this doesn't, and you can already see it is pretty significant difference there. So I think that's going to be kind of a welcome update. However, I am a little concerned. I've gotten used to this bag and the fact that I can just kind of pull this handle and zip this and pull this open. And this, you're kind of gonna have to like fuss with getting these out of the way to get this open. And I don't know if that's gonna be really that big of a deal if you're already setting the bag down and going through all that stuff, but that I think might be a little bit of, I don't know. I don't know, maybe I'm just being picky, but I think I might kind of dislike that after a little bit. And also, I have been known sometimes if I need to move my bag really quickly to just grab these straps when this is not closed, or forgetting that I have not zipped this and just folded it over. And then when you pick up the bag, everything kind of just stays in there because, you know, the handle and everything is attached to the lid. Whereas if you do that with this, it's just gonna fall open. So maybe that's just a me thing, or if you are a V3 owner and you do that and you do upgrade to the V4, just make sure that this is actually zipped. But again, maybe that's just me. They did update this back panel a little bit as well to include a little bit nicer of a curve on these top edges. So it does kind of flow a little bit better just around the entire bag. These cloth zippers do seem to operate with a little bit less force. So they are a little bit nicer to use actually. But again, I don't know about their weatherproofness. Moving on to the inside of the bag here. Oh, the back panel here hasn't really changed that much. You can see the shape has kind of changed a little bit. Maybe the padding is a little bit bigger on the lumbar here than, yeah, looks like maybe there's just like minimal padding difference. Oh, and one more thing about the straps back here. This sternum strap has been changed back to the same one that they had on the V2. So it's this cloth style rail system right here with a little bit of a bungeed plastic clip instead of this stupid rail system here that had this like plastic rail that would just, yeah, actually you can kind of see it looks like it's almost even come apart right here. I didn't even notice that until just now, but it looks like maybe it's come apart. But anyways, I hated this system. I ride my motorcycle a lot, and getting this clip situated in the right slot, you hear it click right there because it wasn't in the right spot. Getting that situated with motorcycle gloves on while you're riding, or even when you're not riding, was just, it was just so difficult. And I hate this system. I don't like it at all. I don't like this hard plastic. It feels cheap. This is the worst thing about this bag in my opinion. And there is no flex to the sternum strap either, like there is with this one and its little kind of bungee thing here. And I prefer to have that little bit of stretch there. I think it really does add a lot of comfort to somebody for somebody who uses a sternum strap on a very regular basis, like I do. So moving on to the inside of the bag here, the flap, see, now you gotta undo all this. You can't just lift it up. I already did it. So moving on to the back flap here. The pockets in here haven't really changed. They did change this zipper direction. This one goes to the left and this one goes to the right. I don't think that makes that big of a difference. But they did change the kind of the design of the pockets here. So this one, I'll show you on this top down here. The V3 here kind of has the pockets like sewn flat, so they sit a little bit more flat. And the V4 here has these like triangle shaped pockets. You can see it right there. kind of like this triangle shaped pocket here, which almost immediately looks like it's gonna hold a lot more than these. It may not, but it feels like these might hold a little bit more. Same number of pockets, same depth. This one does not actually go all the way down to the bottom here. This is not a pocket, this is just an empty space, likely because so nothing butts up against your camera. I found these to be plenty and a very, very welcome addition from the V2 that had no interior pockets. So the dimensions of the laptop sleeve have changed. I noticed on their website it's changed and it looks like they're a little bit smaller. I can tell you that this is an Asus ProArt P16. It is about 14.5 inches wide by like 9 or 9.5 inches, whatever this direction is. And it fits perfectly in both of these bags with plenty of room to spare here. It's got plenty of space here to kind of move around. You do still get your laptop sleeve, or I'm sorry, your tablet sleeve, but like I said, you do lose that soft, like inner liner that this one had. I don't know why they did that, but they did it, and that's what it is. But I think you're gonna be able to fit pretty much any 16-inch laptop, as long as it's not one of those gaming laptops that's got a big, chunky back to it. Moving on to the rest of the bag, remembering that my V3 here is actually using a V2 cube because I just like these thinner pockets. The V4 cube here has not really changed that much from the V3. They did make it a little bit lighter of a color, and I think some of the colors vary based on the color of the bag that you choose if you get one of the pairs or the bundles. I don't actually really like this big chunky cube style. I don't think that this much padding is really that necessary, hence why the V2 cube is in the V3 for me. And one of the biggest failures of the 3 and the 4, I think, are the camera cubes. I really just don't love this big thick stuff, and I hate the fact that this has the Velcro, the hard part of the Velcro, the scratchy part on both sides. So when you put them in there, like, they just, if you have something in there tight and you reach down in there, you're kind of just like scratching your fingers up. I really dislike that, and I dislike the fact that the chunkier the dividers are, the less room I get. You can actually almost see that it looks like this cube is a little bit bigger than this cube, but I guarantee you I could probably stuff more in here than I can in here, just based on how thick these are, which is, again, why I have the V2 in here versus the one that this bag came with. So largely the camera cube between the two hasn't really changed. One of the bigger changes to the inside of the bag here is going to be this top flap here that you've got. The V4 here has gone away from having this quick opening style, 2-zipper style access that the V3 had, and they've done that to get away with the middle bar here that you've got on the V3. So if you are somebody that uses their big pro camera cube and really stuffs this thing all the way to the brim, you'll be able to undo these zippers right here, just a little bit of Velcro, and then fold all of this in or down. And so the Pro camera cube will just be one big open block, and you won't have this kind of stuff in the way that you have with the V3. So if you are somebody who carries a whole lot of gear, or if you're gonna have the Pro camera cube, the V4 might be better, because you'll also be able to get into that top roll top zipper to get something top down if you've got like one of the long lenses that sits downwards in the bag. So that's some of the changes to the inside. I don't actually personally love this. I'm never gonna fill it with their Pro camera cube personally. I'm going to use one of my hiking bags for that. So that doesn't annoy me, but it's not a selling feature. I actually really do like this like rip open style here, so I like that about the V3 here versus the V4. Now, that's pretty much most of the changes here that they've made, but I did mention earlier that there was one change that I think might be a little bit of a fatal flaw for some people, and maybe even for me. That is yet to be seen. But when they did change the straps, when they updated the anchor point up here, they also updated the anchor point down here. And I'll show you what I mean. I actually gotta get this side. So when you sling this over to use your quick access pocket over here, see if I can get it on this top down. The anchor point has changed from being on the outside of the lid here to pretty much being right next to where the door is. It's actually sewn into the zipper of the door here. So you can kind of see here, maybe, it's pulling on this corner of the bag, so it's pulling on the corner of the opening. And if I show you the side-by-side here, and you might start to see what the problem is going to be, but if I show you this, the attachment point is, like I said, it's right on that zipper. And on the V3, since it's so far out here, you've got all this space in between one zipper here, which is so, you know, it does pull on that zipper a little bit, but you don't, this is not the zipper that you're getting into with the quick access, it's this one. So in practice, in the few times that I've zipped and unzipped this, I've noticed that while I'm unzipping it, the zipper is getting caught on the strap's anchor point, because it's, like I said, it's right there on the zipper. Like you can see as I unzip this, how it kind of pulls. And it doesn't seem to matter where you are. I mean, it does still open and close, and this zipper is, like I said, smoother, but it does catch. And when you open it all the way, you can see that if I'm unless I'm holding it completely sideways, where it still catches, it deforms this zipper, and it makes it this it kind of puts a kink in that. And it really actually kind of pulls on the opening just a little bit there. And it makes it, just from what I've seen, I don't know, that doesn't quite feel as easy as it does with this one. Stupid strap. Where the entire zipper is unobstructed, and anything that's pulling is not pulling on the actual cube itself, so there's no deformation of this cube when I pull this open and slide it in and out. And this strap is a little bit farther away from the opening. It's not right up on the opening. So put this in, that and this, despite the fact that this zipper is a little bit more difficult to pull there's not a lot of stuff in my way of the quick access door with that one as there is with this one. And again, I don't know if that's gonna make a lot of difference in practice, but if I'm just, you know, like if I've got this whole bag on, I'm testing it out in real time for you. So if I've kind of got this on, it's not really adjusted very well. But come over here, unzip. Yeah, see, it's kind of, oh, whatever. It is kind of a little bit in the way. It does feel like maybe the cube on the V4 is a little bit stiffer, so that is nice. And it doesn't, yeah, I mean, it kind of does look like it's covering a little bit. I think if you've got even more weight in there, that might actually be a real problem. So that remains to be seen, I guess. But this is going to be what I'm going to assume. If this bag has the fatal flaw, I'm going to assume it's going to be this right here. And I think as people use it, that, and it wears, so like that is, it's just not smooth. I don't know. The more I use it, the more I kind of don't like it. Yeah, I think if there is going to be a fatal flaw, it is going to be that one. The fact that this stitching is right up against the zipper of the quick access door. You still, on the bottom of the bag, you still get the same rain cover if you need the rain cover. I have never found a rainstorm that I actually needed the rain cover on either the V2 or the V3. Keep in mind, I live in Texas, so we don't get rain much at all, period. So that is what that is. All right, well, I think that's about it for my initial thoughts of the Wandrd V4 here. Let me know what you think in the comments, and let me know if you'd like to see a 6 or 8 month review, whether or not these things are going to be problems or whether the upgrades are worth it. And as always, if you have carved out this time to spend with me, thank you very much. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you guys in the next one. Cheers.